Back now, 7:42 with Brad Pitt breaking his silence, speaking out for the first time about his split from Angelina Jolie.
For years, they were known as Hollywood's perfect couple. Whenever people talked about love, success, and family, two names always stood out: Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Together, they built an image that millions admired. They had blockbuster movies, worldwide fame, beautiful children, and a lifestyle that looked almost perfect. But behind the red carpets and smiling family photos, a very different story was unfolding. Then, almost overnight, everything changed. Their marriage collapsed, becoming one of the biggest celebrity divorces in Hollywood history. Fans around the world were left asking the same question. What really happened between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie? Was it the pressure of fame? Did personal struggles slowly tear them apart? Or had their relationship been falling apart long before anyone noticed? Over the years, both Brad and Angelina remained careful about what they shared publicly. Instead of dramatic interviews, most of the story came from court documents, official statements, and a few honest interviews. As those pieces slowly came together, they revealed that this wasn't just another celebrity breakup. It became a story about family, trust, addiction, personal growth, and the enormous pressure of living under the spotlight every single day. Before the divorce, Brad Pitt was enjoying one of the greatest careers in Hollywood. Movies like Fight Club, Troy, Ocean's 11, and many others had made him one of the world's biggest stars. Angelina Jolie had achieved the same level of success. From Lara Croft, Tomb Raider to Maleficent, she became one of Hollywood's most recognizable actresses. Beyond acting, she earned worldwide respect for her humanitarian work with refugees and children. When the two first appeared together in Mr. Mrs. Smith in 2004, their chemistry was impossible to ignore. At the time, Brad was still married to Jennifer Aniston, making headlines around the world. Although Brad and Angelina denied that their relationship began before his separation, public attention followed them from the very beginning. Despite the controversy, they built a life together. Over the next several years, they raised 6 children, traveled the world, supported humanitarian causes, and became known as one of Hollywood's strongest families. In 2014, after nearly a decade together, they finally married in a private ceremony at their home in France. To fans, it looked like a fairy tale ending. But appearances can be deceiving. Living under constant media attention is difficult for any family. Every vacation became news. Every public appearance was analyzed. Every rumor became an international headline. Very few couples experienced that kind of pressure. Years later, Brad Pitt publicly admitted that alcohol had become a serious problem during that period of his life. He acknowledged that he needed to make major changes, but by then, the damage inside the relationship had already begun. Then came September 2016. A private flight from France to Los Angeles would become the turning point that changed everything. What happened during that journey later became the center of investigations, legal filings, and years of public debate. Only days later, Angelina Jolie filed for divorce. The announcement shocked millions of fans. After years of appearing inseparable, one of Hollywood's most famous couples was officially over. But that was only the beginning. Because what followed wasn't just a divorce, it became an 8-year battle involving custody disputes, business conflicts, and public speculation that refused to disappear. The divorce announcement shocked the world, but what truly caught everyone's attention was what reportedly happened just days before Angelina Jolie filed for divorce. The turning point was a private flight on September 14, 2016. Brad, Angelina, and their children were flying from France back to Los Angeles. To everyone outside the aircraft, it looked like an ordinary family trip. But according to Angelina Jolie's later court filings, the flight became the moment when years of tension finally reached a breaking point. Angelina alleged that Brad Pitt had been drinking during the flight and that an argument between the couple became increasingly heated. According to her legal filings, one of their children tried to step in during the disagreement, making the situation even more emotional. Those allegations quickly became international headlines. However, it's important to remember that Brad Pitt has denied physically abusing his family. Authorities investigated the incident, and no criminal charges were filed against him. Even though the legal investigations ended, the marriage itself did not recover. Just 5 days after the flight, Angelina officially filed for divorce. For millions of fans, the news was almost impossible to believe. One of Hollywood's most admired couples had suddenly fallen apart. At first, many people expected the divorce to be resolved quickly. After all, Both were wealthy, successful, and had access to the best legal teams. Instead, the case became one of Hollywood's longest-running legal battles. There were disagreements over child custody. There were questions about parenting. And eventually, there were disputes over valuable business assets. As the legal process continued, Brad Pitt remained relatively quiet. Unlike many celebrities who respond through interviews or social media, he chose to speak only occasionally. But when he finally opened up, his words surprised many people. In a 2017 interview with GQ Style, Brad admitted that he had reached one of the lowest points of his life. He openly acknowledged that alcohol had become a serious problem. He revealed that after the separation, he quit drinking, started therapy, and began working on changing himself. Instead of publicly blaming Angelina, Brad focused on taking responsibility for his own struggles. He admitted he had made mistakes. He spoke about becoming a better father. And he described the divorce as a painful wake-up call that forced him to rethink his entire life. Those interviews changed how many fans viewed him. Rather than trying to defend himself in every headline, he appeared focused on rebuilding his life. Meanwhile, Angelina Jolie also kept most of her comments private. When she did speak publicly, her focus remained on protecting her children and helping her family heal. Although both parents said they wanted what was best for their children, the legal battles continued for years. But custody wasn't the only issue. Another major conflict was about to begin. Years before separating, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie had purchased Château Miraval, the famous French estate and winery where they were married in 2014. What had once symbolized their love soon became another courtroom battle. In 2021, Angelina sold her share of the winery to another company. Brad later filed a lawsuit, claiming they had agreed not to sell their ownership without each other's approval. Angelina's legal team strongly disagreed, arguing she had every legal right to sell her share. Once again, the former couple found themselves facing each other in court. By now, the marriage was long over. But the legal battles continued. Year after year. Headline after headline. Court filing after court filing. Fans around the world began asking one question. If their relationship had already ended, why couldn't they finally move on? Because by this point, it wasn't just about a divorce anymore. It had become a battle over family, reputation, business, and a future that neither of them had imagined. After years of lawsuits, public speculation, and media headlines, one question still remains. What really destroyed Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's marriage? Many people hoped there would be one shocking answer. But the reality appears to be far more complicated. Relationships rarely end because of one single event. More often, they slowly break down over time through stress, personal struggles, broken trust, and problems that continue to grow until they can no longer be ignored. Looking back today, Brad Pitt has publicly admitted that alcohol became one of the biggest personal challenges of his life during that period. In several interviews after the divorce, he explained that he reached a point where he knew he had to change. He quit drinking, entered therapy, and began focusing on becoming a better father and a healthier person. Instead of blaming Hollywood or criticizing Angelina Jolie in public, Brad chose to talk about his own mistakes. He admitted that the divorce forced him to take a hard look at himself. He described it as one of the most painful experiences of his life. For many fans, hearing one of Hollywood's biggest stars speak so openly about regret and self-improvement was unexpected. It showed that fame, money, and success cannot protect anyone from personal struggles. No amount of awards could save a marriage. No blockbuster movie could repair broken trust. And no celebrity status could erase years of emotional pain. While Brad focused on rebuilding his personal life, Angelina Jolie continued moving forward in her own way. She remained active in humanitarian work, continued acting and directing, and dedicated much of her time to raising their children. Although both parents continued to disagree over legal matters, they rarely spoke directly about each other in public. Instead, most updates came through lawyers and court documents. Even after their divorce was legally finalized, another battle continued. The dispute over Château Miraval, the French winery where they were married, remained one of the biggest legal disagreements between them. Ironically, the place where they celebrated one of the happiest days of their lives became another reminder of how difficult it can be to separate two lives that were once deeply connected. For fans who had followed their journey from the beginning, it was heartbreaking. The couple once known as Brangelina had become a symbol of how quickly even the strongest-looking relationships can fall apart. But perhaps the biggest lesson from Brad Pitt's journey isn't about Hollywood gossip. It's about accepting responsibility. Brad has openly admitted that he wasn't perfect. He has spoken about learning from his mistakes, seeking help, and trying to become a better version of himself. That doesn't answer every question about what happened inside the marriage, and many parts of their story remain known only to Brad, Angelina, and their family. Both have shared different perspectives over the years, and much of what happened privately will likely never be fully known. Today, both continue to move forward. Brad Pitt remains one of Hollywood's biggest stars, earning critical praise for films like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood while continuing his work as a producer. Angelina Jolie continues focusing on filmmaking, humanitarian causes, and her family. Professionally, both have found success. Personally, they have chosen separate paths. Looking back, perhaps there wasn't one moment that destroyed their marriage. Perhaps it was years of pressure, years of personal struggles, the challenge of raising a large family while living under constant public attention, different priorities, and wounds that eventually became too deep to heal. Their story reminds us that behind every famous headline are real people facing real challenges. Sometimes the most difficult battles happen far away from movie sets and red carpets. And sometimes, even the couples the world believes will last forever are fighting struggles no one else can see. And if you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more untold celebrity stories and behind-the-scenes Hollywood documentaries.